The top 10 countries with the happiest people on Earth. Are you feeling a little down in the dumps? Skies aren't so blue and the birds are singing barf. Then you're probably not from one of these countries. Get ready for the top 10 countries with the happiest people on Earth. As part of the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, a group of happiness researchers asked people all around the world to rate their happiness on a scale from 0 to 10. I know it's no surprise to you that the unhappiest people in the world live in Burundi. Their self-reported happiness score is only 2.9. What a bunch of sad sacks, am I right? But to find out who's the #1 happiest, you'll have to stay tuned. Starting off at number 10 on our ridiculously happy countdown, we're going to the land of the dancing queen. That's right, it's Sweden. Swedes derive their happiness from a sense of safety and security. Like their national car, the Volvo, which is now owned by a Chinese company, life in Sweden is safe, unexciting, and boxy. And all that despite being the birthplace of dynamite. Although Swedes pay the highest tax rates in the world, that doesn't get them down for two important reasons. First, they stay in college longer than anybody else, which means they're still doing body shots and getting their asses tattooed while you're already in your 5th year of back-breaking office work. Second, they have babies the latest, if they have them at all. Which means at age 30, they're still doing body shots and getting their asses tattooed. While your 6-year-old human Chucky doll is at home carving pentagrams into the refrigerator. Finally, Swedes enjoy an unlimited level of happiness thanks to being the home country of ABBA. Whenever a Swede is feeling blue, ABBA appears like Superman to sing Dancing Queen and Mamma Mia until everyone's hunky-dory. Amazing. Next, the #9 happiest country in the world just threw another prawn on the barbie. You guessed it, it's Australia. And yes, prawn means shrimp, but they don't say that. Australians enjoy a great men-at-work-life balance, heaps of time at the beach, and they've got koalas, so who wouldn't be happy? Australia's national motto is "No worries, mate." But even when yes worries, they can feel confident in a robust social safety net. Although their country is overrun with deadly snakes, poisonous spiders, and mullet-sporting bogans, Australians take pride in their unique outdoor environment. Where else will you find a Mount Disappointment? Or a Cape Tribulation? Or a Lake Crikey? And don't forget these things. Oh, it's so cuddly. While we're on the topic of nature and happiness, there's one great Australian pastime rooting for your attention. It's schoolies, that time at the end of the Australian school year when every horny 12th grader in the country graduates on the same day. Then they all run to the Gold Coast to drink buckets of booze and have unprotected sex. The #8 country with the happiest people is used to coming in second to the Land of Oz, but not this time. Put your Kiwis together for New Zealand. New Zealanders, long considered discount Australians, have found a happiness all of their own. With all the abundant natural splendor of Australia, but without any of the deadly fauna, New Zealanders can happily stagger around outside without the risk of being bitten or stung by anything fierce. Far from it, New Zealand is chiefly populated by sheep. And in a land so large, with people so few, sometimes the key to happiness has been beside you all along. In less verboten measures, New Zealand is the least corrupt country you'll find, and was voted straight-up best country 2 years in a row by Wanderlust magazine. Yeah, nothing corrupt about that at all. New Zealanders like to give themselves a happy pat on the back for being the first country to permit their women folk to vote, way back in 1893. As a result, women hold a high ratio of public offices in New Zealand. Happy wife, happy life. Now it's time to jump in your van and gawk to the #7 happiest country on Earth, the Netherlands. And I apologize for that pun because Van Gogh was extremely depressed. It's no surprise that the Dutch are so happy. Marijuana and magic mushrooms have been de facto legal for over a generation. So whether you're trying out a Dutch rudder, a Dutch oven, or maybe just biking past the dykes and prostitutes, you'll do it a little happier with some Dutch smoke in your head. But the key to Holland's happiness isn't only chemical. The Dutch are happiest when they're feeling gezelligheid. We're sure that's not how it's pronounced in Dutch, and the word has no direct English translation. But believe me, the Dutch are very ungezellig without it. The easiest way to explain the feeling of gezelligheid is to imagine yourself sitting by the fire, in a comfy chair, wearing a thick sweater and drinking a hot boozy drink, sitting in a fashionably modern room surrounded by attractive friends with their own sweaters and chairs and booze. Don't you feel happier already? That's gezelligheid. A much more tangible factor making the Dutch so happy is the ridiculous amount of time they spend biking around and then rushing home to peep at their equally biking-obsessed neighbors, who are generally naked. because the only thing that matches the Dutch love of bikes is their dislike of curtains. It takes the combination of bikes, weed, sexy neighbors, and feeling guzzling to make Dutch people the number 7 happiest people in the world. Or maybe it's just the weed. If you're starting to notice a pattern, then you haven't had enough Dutch courage yet. Bottoms up. But for realsies, all these countries have a few things in common. They all give ample holidays to workers, medicine for the entire population, and have high levels of per capita GDP, life expectancy, and perhaps most elusive of all, trust. In part 2, you'll find out who the real happiest people in the world are, and make all these jerks look like a bunch of frowning-faced emojis. That's in Countries with the Happiest People on Earth Part 2, coming up right now.